Paulina, meet Lexie, your husband's wife. Oh, soap operas. What's up, my Days of Our Lives peeps? This is more a reaction versus a review for yesterday and today's episodes. I watched them both this morning. So they kind of like run together like one huge episode. Oh Lord. Well, first I wanted to talk about the pod. We know that Lexie's in the pod, and Paulina now knows Lexie's in the pod because she wanted to get in EJ's face yet again about his usage of the power. They're looking at, everything about it. I'm like, oh lordy girl, you in for a rude awakening, that's for sure. That's why I was saying in my review the other day. Wednesday's episode. Oh lordy. But EJ is like, you know what? Let's go to the lab, you know. It's like, yeah, and he's like, you just tell on EJ's face. She's like, you know what, Trick, I'm just tired of you. Especially he was about to go to dinner with Kat, so he doesn't get to hang out with Kat, one, and two, he gotta wait on eating dinner. So yeah, he was really, really done. Don't keep a man from his food and his cat. I know, stupid joke. Anyways, yeah, because we saw that there was some life going on there. The monitors were going off while Owen was in there talking to Jeremy and Stephanie, and Rolf was there, and he was getting all excited, and then Rolf let EJ know, and EJ was like, "Just move the pod," and he was like, "Are you sure?" He's like, "Yeah." So I guess they moved the pod from the back secret room and then moved it to the front so Paulina can meet Lexi, which is a good thing because Jeremy just rushed out of there real quickly, so you didn't put Jeremy and Stephanie's um gags on in the mouth. So if they were screamed, then Paulina would have heard, definitely. Others would have heard. I'm still surprised Rolf hasn't picked up on it, or he's just not trying to. But he did find Stephanie's ring in the trash, and he asked Owen about it. He said he was going to propose to his girlfriend that he's been dating since 2009. Oh, lordy. Rolf is like, if you've been together since that long, I'm sure she'd be cool with, tying the knot. I mean, technically, they're considered common law married because, that's 10 years. You're with somebody for 10 years, you're basically married. The only difference is you haven't signed the papers that about being married or got the license for the marriage, basically. But, anyways, you know what? I did not see what they did with the ring after that. I don't know if Owen took it or he threw it in the trash. But, oh yeah, before I forget, Owen left the lab and he was walking outside of the pub. He was, Kat had just went into the pub as Owen was walking, like she was going in as he was coming this way. I was like, dang girl, you were this close, this close. But of course she wouldn't know what Owen looks like. Why would she know what Owen looks like? Unless she knows him from a past life or something. Which I'm not surprised, days are alive. They like to connect people with other people that you didn't think that would know each other. But anyways, back to the pod. Yeah, EJ opened it up and Paulina knew right away. That's Lexie. I'm like, yeah, meet your husband's wife. Yeah, she looks so beautiful. Her skin, I guess the pod, not only brought her back to life, but her skin is just looks so beautiful. Those eyebrows, just beautiful. It's like, like it was kind of like, what do you call it? Not like a tan and bend, but it's like she had like a was at a spa or something. The pod was part of the spa and it just like rejuvenated her and everything. Ava's gonna love what he sees. But I was just wondering, will Lexi remember everything or will she not remember stuff? I think after all this time of him Rolf using this serum to bring people back to life, I think that he would have improved it to the point where, they shouldn't have that side effect. But then again, those other, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's been a few years. He should have it up working well. But yeah, they won't have to do any manipulations with her. They just have to send her out into Salem and have her reenact with Abe and Theo and kick Paulina to the curb, basically. But I was wondering, will Paulina tell Abe right away? or will she just keep it quiet until Lexie comes out of the pod? Makes me wonder. Yeah, because she does have life, but she hasn't got out the pod yet. She's still sleeping very peacefully. I'm jealous. Can I get in that pod? Does it dye hair? Because my grays are really starting to. Anyway, yeah, I was like, I found out that we were gonna see her Lexi this week, but I was like, probably at the very end of the week. Sure enough, the last second of the episode. So there's Days of Our Lives always, showing us good stuff on in the Fridays, just so we'll make sure we watch on Monday. Which is really good. That's what a show is supposed to do. It's supposed to, at the end, shock you to the point where you're like, I can't wait to see the next episode. I can't wait to see what happens. Even though I'm not happy they're bringing more people back from the dead, I think that's a storyline that I know it's a day staple, but it's something that they should just really take a good break from. And never thought that they would bring Lexi back. That's crazy because yeah, she died in 2012. Cause that's a really really long time ago. I don't know. But I saw a lot of people. I'm in this group on Facebook. A lot of people are questioning, EJ doing all this stuff. They were talking about, Lexi's been dead all this time. How is she, the serum able to work on her? Blah blah blah. But and then they're talking about EJ. He just purposely did this or whatever. Blah blah blah. What I think is that when Lexi died, I think it was Stefano that put her on ice um until in doing that, putting Lexi on ice, that's probably why Rolf ended up um creating the serum in the first place. That's what I think. That's what happened. Is he that's the whole reason why he ever started the serum, because Stefano, was trying to bring Lexi back, and so he just put it on ice until the serum was perfected to put it on. The other people were just test dummies. Yeah, including EJ. EJ was a little yeah, because if you remember, EJ died. He died in 2015, 2015, 2016, if I'm not mistaken. So he died. He was dead for a little while. Yeah, Dan started on the show in 2021. But we knew that EJ was dead like a year and a half before, but we didn't see him for the first time until Dan took over the role. So, yeah, so I think that, Stefano just put Lexi on ice and put EJ on ice. And I guess EJ was more of a test subject. And Rolf probably contacted EJ and let him know about the whole Lexi thing. But, but didn't know that his dad was actually dead yet. Or maybe he did. I don't know. But it should be interesting to see what they would do with the storylines. I know, stupid, bringing somebody back from the dead, especially since it's been so long and it's a recast. But me, it might. I know I always say that. If you know me, you might know what I mean. But I do try and give stuff, a storyline, a chance to play out before I truly judge it. I know I fail sometimes, but I'm gonna give this a chance to see what this is. People are already on Facebook shitting on it. I'm like, damn, give the woman a chance. She has not aired yet. Well, we saw her today, but she hasn't said anything or done anything yet. Let it play out, before you start judgment. I mean, there's been characters that have been recast and you fall in love with the recast. I'm like, look all these people that were just mad about Billy Flynn leaving. Billy Flynn was not the original Chad. So you fell in love with the recast. So it's possible that maybe, Renee Jones, she could be still your Lexi, but still respect the recast. She just took the job. She was interested in the job. She applied. They gave her the job. Don't shit on her, shit on Days for thinking that this was a good idea. But don't shit on it actually. Give it a chance to play out, okay? It has all the makings of a bad storyline, but, stuff, surprises you all the time. Yeah. Especially Days. Definitely a show that definitely makes you go, why is this happening? To wow, okay. but that's with any soap opera sometimes. Depends on the storyline. But I'm gonna give it a chance for sure. Um, and other things, speaking of recasts, I still need to go back and watch the original Sophia. Everybody always talked about how awesome she was, or way better than this one. So I'm like, I don't. It doesn't take. It wouldn't take much for somebody to be better for Sophia, but yeah, she was just threatening Melinda Turner into the bar for not helping her block Johnny and Chanel for adopting her son. Yeah, because the paperwork's not finalized yet. I'm like, Melinda's like, that's not gonna be a good idea. Remember, you're not supposed. You don't talk. She's like, I will make an exception for this. I'm like, oh lordy. So it makes me wonder what she really is gonna do with this, but it doesn't matter. You dropped the kid off at the fire station. If you didn't want Johnny and Chanel, or you're gonna be picky about who would adopt your kid, then you should have did more to get to pass the kid off to somebody or whatever. But you gave up the right to drop him off at the fire station. So shut up. And she's still trying to get Rachel to give Holly the pill. She even told Holly, she already told Rachel to stick them in Holly's purse. Hopefully Rachel doesn't actually do it. But Thursday, if you didn't know, Thursday was Alice Halsey plays Rachel. That was her last day. Who's gonna miss her? Oh lordy, so not. I guess the new. I haven't seen who's gonna be playing the new Rachel, but I'm assuming that she's not just gonna evaporate in the thin air. I'm guessing the recast will pop up sometime soon. But if you enjoy Alice, then check out Little House on the Prairie. I think they said it's gonna be on Netflix. I believe in July. I think it said. I need to look that up. Double check that. But it already got renewed for a second season. I'm like, dang, the show hasn't aired yet. Netflix has really loved it, so I think I'll check that out. Um, and Stephanie and Jeremy are trying to play Owen. Stephanie was talking about, just like basically just turn Jeremy on about wanting to be with him and stuff. I'm like, you see how happy he was. But then Rolf just like, had to break it up. Had to break it up. But Steve finally got wise and said that Jeremy is, he had to convince Jada that Jeremy is not the stalker. Yeah, they're just different reading from the tip line or whatever, people throwing in tips and stuff. They're talking about she was on the bus to Missouri. She was on the bus to somewhere else. I want to say Detroit, but I'm not sure if that was what it was. But I'm like, oh lordy. I know some people just throw stuff, hit up the tip line just with random stuff. But then again, Stephanie is kind of generic, so it could be easy for people to not recognize her very well. Yeah, because I don't think that they mentioned what she was wearing on the day that she was kidnapped. But anyways, um, oh, Abe talked to Jet. Um, I forgot who it was. That his? I think it was his nephew. Yeah, him and Jeremy were friends when they worked at the. I think they worked. Yeah, they worked at an airport. So they found out that they used to hang out somewhere there, and so they gave him an address for Steve to check out. So I'm like, that was a waste of time because Jeremy's not the stalker, and so I forgot. Did Chad call? I think that was Chad that called Jada or Steve. I forgot which one. But he mentioned about Thomas finding a phone, and he didn't realize it at the time. But then he was like, "Oh, that was Stephanie's phone," because on the back of the phone, it had her business name, the letter for her business, Stephanie Johnson. I forgot what the rest of it was. Let me know in the comments. I forgot what the rest of her company, her PR company. And then he realized it was Stephanie's phone, and then it was like, "Why is this not coming up here?" And Jada said, "Because Thomas didn't realize it at the time. He just thought it was some other kid's phone, and just handed it to Jeremy." And then Steve's like, "Well, Stephanie's phone was at the school, then that would have been after Stephanie was kidnapped. Therefore, why would so Jeremy would have ran away before Steph had have been, of course, run away before Stephanie was kidnapped if he was the stalker. But this all happened after Stephanie was kidnapped, meaning, he couldn't have been the one. But Jada's like, could he have had an accomplice? Chick, stop making it seem. It's like Jada wants it to be Jeremy, and Steve is like, no. Now Marlena, she did like a a report, like oh goodness, I cannot think of what does he say? It drives me crazy. Like a description basically of what Jeremy is, and he seemed more like a loner now. So why would he, bring somebody in now? So they finally settled on Jeremy's not the stalker. So now they're on the right track. This storyline. Yeah, this is all about plot versus character development because these two should have figured this out by now before this, or at least have figured it out around the time right before Stephanie got kidnapped, not after the fact. If it's something that they put together, like they put it together, I'm like, yes, Jeremy's not the stalker, um, but Stephanie's still in danger, blah blah blah, and then they would have gone and found out that she was kidnapped. If something like that happened, maybe it'll have made the rest of them look better. But we shall see how long before they put two and two together. That is Owen. I don't know. But Kat seems to be the only kind of smart person on the show, so maybe she'll figure it out. Yeah, but Alex figured out that the picture might have been bugged. But I'm still wondering, does EJ know about Owen or does he not know about Owen? I don't know. But I have a feeling that he might. Him or Kat are gonna be him, Kat, or Rolf are gonna be the first ones to realize that. Yeah, maybe Owen is the one that kidnapped Stephanie. But anyways, what do you think about Days Were Last this week? I thought it was a really awesome week for the show. And let me know in the comments below. What do you think Lexi's gonna do? What do you think Paulina's gonna do? She gonna tell Abe what's Lexi's first rule of business first. What is she gonna do when she gets out the box? I can't think of how I was going to say that. But anyways, I'm gonna shut up. Hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already. Definitely hit the like button so I can find more Days or Lives peeps to hang out with. It's always fun meeting new people. And if you like the other four soaps, check out videos for them as well. I'm gonna shut up. Thank you for watching. I appreciate it as always. Love you guys.